Today is exciting. Whole cooked chicken. I'm going to show you 2 wonderful ways that you can use a roast chicken. Now, just an important note. These can be store-bought chickens, so I don't want you to feel guilty. You don't have to be roasting up your own chickens to be able to do these next 2 recipes. If you run out of time, if you're wanting to do some meal prep on the weekend, you pick up 2 roast chickens from the supermarket, you come home, you can slot those chickens exactly into these 2 dishes that I'm showing you today. But for today, I have roasted my own chickens. So you can do either. You can buy them from the supermarket if you're that kind of person. I was about to say gal, but I shouldn't specify gals, or boys. We love boys in the kitchen, love men in the kitchen. It's my favorite thing to see. If you're just not that person that likes roasting up a whole chicken from scratch, definitely buy them. For those of you that might want to do it at home, these are 2 bought from the supermarket raw chooks. I just literally take them out, pat dry them a bit to get rid of the moisture, put them on a baking tray, literally extra virgin olive oil over them, and then whatever spices you like. So dried Italian herbs, you could do some thyme, you could do some oregano, you could do some lemon pepper, you could do whatever you want. Rub that all over the skin with your olive oil and then into an oven, 200 degrees for about anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour. It will depend on the size of your chook, so keep that in mind. These are quite small. We're making 2 recipes today with these beautiful cooked chooks. One of them is a chicken pot pie. This is actually in my second cookbook, Family Food, and it is a real people's favorite. People love this because it's easy, it's quick, it's all done in one pan. There's no fiddling around with pastry. It's lace and pastry on top. You got it? It's just really delicious and creamy as well. It's so yum. And then the second recipe that we're going to be doing today is a soba noodle chicken edamame Asian-y salad. That is one of my favorite things to cook. I always cook it, especially in the warmer months. And I'm going to show you how easily you can do it with 2 chickens. Recipe 1 is our chicken pot pie. Got some mushies, some carrots, some peas, butter, garlic, and a leek, and a little bit of other stuff. But starting with the leek. So you're just chopping off the end. You want to go as far to the end as possible. I think people get scared of leeks. They're not scary at all. You just got to know you're basically going for the white part is the particular part, and all leeks vary. I got an online order for this and I'm not completely happy with how little there is, but when I'm in a market or in a supermarket, I really like to look for the longest white part, and that's how I'll choose my leek. And then you're sort of going up, it starts to get a bit woody and everything, so even cutting through that is quite hard, so that's probably a little bit too high, and that's a little bit annoying because there isn't much leek there. You can get leeks where you're getting a really good white section of about this far, which is what I'd usually go for, but that is okay. It's a bit annoying. I don't use this in the pot, but you know, if you're a person that makes stock from scratch, you would know that in a pot with a whole lot of onion skins and veggie chop-offs and all of that sort of stuff makes really good stock. So you don't have to throw that out. So basically, I'm going to go down the middle like this. And it really is quite small, this leek. If I had have known that my online order would have sent me this, I would have ordered 2 leeks. But anyway, we're just going to pretend that we've got a bigger leek. I'm basically going to go over and give it a really good wash because in between our layers here, it can get quite dirty. Okay, so we're just going to slice our leeks. Sometimes I go down the middle again, but I'm going to keep them this shape, half moons. And we're just going to chop those up, ready to get frying on our chicken pot pie base. Now I've got my pan here. A little tip with this recipe, it doesn't have to be an oven safe pan, but really handy if your pan goes straight, it can go into the oven because we're going to make the pie mix in here. Then I literally lay pastry over the top and shove it in the oven, and it's all done in one pan. You can do it in any type of pan and then tip it into an oven tray or a baking dish, which is oven safe, and then you'll just lay the pastry over the top of that. So we're going to get that on pretty nice and high, about it, 80%, 90% to start. I'm going to add some olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, to heat up for 30 seconds. A good slosh. I really like my leeks and garlic to be coated really well in the olive oil and the butter. It's where you get a lot of that initial flavor. I'm running out of spoons, so sorry, I've got a little bluey spoon here, but that'll do. And then I'm adding a really good, I'm going to go a little bit less, about a tablespoon of butter, because the leeks are going to soak up that butter really, really well. Get that heating, and then once our butter butter starts to melt. It's just taking a little mini. Good, good. It's heating up. That butter's starting to melt. So I'm going to add my measly little leek that got sent. We're just not going to let it ruin our day. Actually, I've got some spare shallot here. I just realized this is actually from another recipe I'm making. So don't get freaked out. I'm not adding another type of onion. I've just got this left over from a recipe I was just cooking before. So I'm going to add it. But that gives you a little bit of an idea of how you can be a bit flexible with recipes. You know, leek, onion, red onion, shallot, they're all part of the same family. So they can be interchangeable to an extent. So I'm going to get that going. It's starting to sizzle. It's smelling beautiful. I'm going to give a pinch of, where's my salt? Little pinch of salt to bring out those flavors of the leek early on. Already smelling amazing. I love the smell of a chicken and leek pie. Okay, so our leeks have cooked off for 2 to 3 minutes. Now I'm going to add my garlic. 2 to 3 cloves, in it goes. Stir that around. You're just going to cook that off for about 1 minute. Really good tip with garlic, whenever it's in the base of something like this where you're cooking it off in a pan, usually, it can just burn so easily. And if you burn garlic at the start of a dish, I don't want to scare you and think, oh my God, I'm never going to cook with garlic again. But the problem is that when you burn garlic, when it's a base of a dish, a base of a recipe, it can kind of permeate throughout the whole recipe. And then right at the end, it might have taken you an hour, it might have taken you 3 hours, you sit down and you can really taste that burnt garlic taste. So you just got to be wary that whenever you throw garlic into a pan that's high heat, keep it moving. Or if you're worried, not in this case because it's quite liquidy, but if you're worried it's burning on the bottom of the pan, add a little dash of water just to keep it moving, to keep it moist, to kind of so that it doesn't burn. Now, next we're going to add some plain flour. I'm going to add about a tablespoon, and really important, so this flour, and if you're celiac or gluten-free, you can always use gluten-free flour, but the point of putting flour in at this stage is to obviously thicken it up to make a great base for the pie, a really creamy, thick sauce among your pie, but you've got to make sure you cook out that flour. So if you don't leave that long enough, and you can add a little bit of stock here. So I've got quite a bit of stock here, but I'm adding it in 2 different parts. So I'm gonna add a little bit here, great, just to sizzle and to cook with that flour, to cook it out. That's beautiful. We wanna see that thicker kind of base and all that kind of crusty thickness happening around the onion and the garlic. That's really great. You need to cook it out for at least about 2 minutes so that if you don't get a raw flour taste by the time you've made up your pie as well. Just going to add a little bit more of that and cook it out. Do the same thing. Usually I do that in one hit. I just wanted to see with my leeks. Cook that out. A little bit of stock. We're putting in the rest of the stock a little bit down the track. Great. Then I'm going to add 2 liquids here. Some white wine. Now, people can get funny about adding alcohol into dishes these days, and that's so fair enough. So when I put the recipe below and you're looking through it, if you're not wanting to use the white wine, just substitute with putting more stock in. And we're gonna boil that away to really get it going and to get it reducing and thickening up. See how that's thickening up? That's exactly what we want it to do. Beautiful. So again, keep it stirring, keep it moving so you're not burning it. And then I'm going to turn it right down. Now we're adding our veggies. I've got 2 to 3 carrots here, just chopped any way you like. This is a recipe I do with my daughters. Like my middle daughter, Penny, she started making this when she was first 4 years old. And so it's very rough, it's very relaxed. I've got quite a few mushies here. I just chopped all that I got in the bag. I actually feel like it's too much. So we're just going to throw in, I'm just getting mess everywhere right now. I will let you know how much I decide to put in and how much works. Just guessing for now, you know, whatever. So your stock is just your friend of when it's all getting a little bit thick, just add a little bit more stock. I'm gonna throw in a few more. Remember, mushies really reduce, and a little bit of stock. Great. And turn that up to high, give it a good stir, coat all the veggies and let them cook away for 6 to 8 minutes. Just to really reduce them. That's just cooking away. I am going to shred my chicken. But you can prepare it earlier and shred it all before so you're ready to go. But now I will shred my meat. So my shredded chicken is all ready to go. We've got the pan that's been cooking away for about 6 to 8 to 10 minutes to really cook those mushies and those carrots down. You can see how much the mushrooms have reduced. So just keep that in mind when you're adding them, when you think, oh my God, there's so many mushrooms in this. And that's kind of the consistency you want to be looking for in the saucy kind of liquid component, okay? So if yours looks much thinner than that and there's a lot more liquid, Best thing to do is crank it up and let it boil away for maybe 2, 3, 4 minutes. So if I did that, I'll show you what I do. You bring it up and let it bubble away. Don't just leave it like that and walk away for 4 minutes, because what you're gonna do is catch on the bottom of the pan and probably start to burn the mix. But you wanna keep it bubbling and then just give it a stir every now and then, and it will thicken up over the course of, 5 minutes or so. I'm gonna add my shredded chicken. In my normal cookbook recipe, it says fresh thyme. Don't have any of that, which most people don't unless you're growing it in your garden. So you can use dried thyme or dried oregano or dried Italian herbs. Any of those work. And then some frozen peas, and we're nearly ready to put the pastry on. So add your chicken in. Yum, yum, yum. Love a home roasted chicken. Just think the chicken cooks beautifully. It's nice and tender. I was gonna use that gross word moist, but I won't, even though I kind of did. And then we're gonna add in our dried herbs, like so, as much as you want. It's your choice. Then we're gonna add some pepper. And if this is for kids, obviously you do you. If your kids are like, I see pepper, and they don't touch a dish, you can leave it out. And then I've just got some frozen peas. I was just sitting them there draining so that they lost the moisture and didn't add it to the mix, because it can make it too watery, even though there's sort of ice going in there, but anyway. And then we're gonna turn it up to stir all those yummy goodies through. Autumn, winter or spring, a pie is just perfect. My recipe says if you need more stock, add it now. I actually don't think I do. There's enough kind of liquid in the mix. Just gonna crank it up to really cook all that. And I think I got everything. I did my dried herbs. Salt, look, it's up to you. You can try the mix now and see if you wanna add some salt, but remember, stock, usually, depending on the type of stock you use, contains a lot of salt. So I would hold off on the stock, on the salt, and you can always add it later. So there we go, there's our pie mix. How easy was that? And you know what? You can do exactly this pie mix by cooking raw chicken off first, so thighs or breast chopped up. But I just love the whole concept of adding cooked chicken because it just fastens up the process so much. So I'm gonna have a little taste. Oh my God, I'm such a sucker for a pie mix. Yum. Good to see it like that. I mean, I love pastry, love putting the pastry on top and it getting all golden and bubbly, but oh my God, that mix on its own. So heat goes off. I'm gonna let it cool for a little mini before we put the pastry on, because otherwise it's just gonna basically melt the pastry straight up. So give that 5 or 10 minutes to cool, and then we're gonna come back and pop our pastry on. So my little mix has just cooled off. Because we're putting the pastry straight on and we're pretty relaxed and it's going straight in the oven, you don't have to bring it to full room temperature. If you were having it sit for a while, I'd say don't put your pastry on because it's just gonna melt basically. So I've just got puff pastry, store-bought, don't have time to make my own pastry, 3 young kids, working full time, no way. Depending on the size, you can cut and do this any way you like, but this pot, again, this fry pan works really well. I can put the details below for this fry pan if you like, because lots of people ask me about this one. It fits beautifully, a sheet of puff pastry. So over the top, and trust me, I'm super relaxed with this. Like, as you can see, not perfect, but that's how I like it. Don't need to put pressure on a weeknight meal or even a weekend meal. Just doesn't need to be pressure. So I'm gonna push that down, and then I'm gonna grab a little knife, just cut around those bits. I've got an extra sheet here in case I needed to fill any spots, but it's actually gonna be okay. Pastry usually shrinks a little bit as it bakes, so we just wanna make sure that we're pushing it, and then literally it does not have to be perfect or even near perfect in my eyes. And because it's heating up with the mix underneath, it's stretching a little bit, that's good. Stretch it out. If you had heaps of excess, I'd say get your little knife and cut around, and then just literally fold over the edges if your pan's a little bit smaller. If you're using a bigger pan or a bigger pie dish, obviously you can use multiple sheets, and just as long as you're kind of blending them, pinching them in the middle so that they're joining together, that's all you need. It does not have to be perfect. All right, so there's your pastry done. I've lost my pastry brush because my 3 daughters have decided to take it into the bath to have as a bath toy, and I just don't trust using it from the bath. So I'm going to just kind of use a fork, but I know this is weird. Whisk up your little egg and then kind of paint it with the fork. And look, this is pretty gross, but I'm gonna use my fingers just because they're the closest thing to a pastry brush. A bit like a makeup, you know, do you apply your makeup with your fingertips or a makeup brush? Like, it's your choice, but that's gonna smooth it the best in the closest way to a pastry brush. So nice and gentle. That pastry is feeling really warm now, so we want to get it into the oven before it starts melting. And because I've got egg hand here, sesame seeds you can use, or poppy seeds, whatever. I actually have black sesame seeds here, being a bit fancy, but it's literally because I can't find my white sesame seeds. So whatever sesame seeds you have or you like, or if you don't like seeds, you can leave them off altogether as well. Ta-da! And that's it. This is our chicken pot pie. Chicken pot pie, and even with my eggy hand, and we're gonna get it into the oven. Left hand, let's see how I go with this. Strong muscles. Oh my God, I'm so weak in my left hand. It is very heavy, okay? And we're just gonna get that in nice and high. I've got it for 200 at the moment. I can't remember what my recipe says. I like to start off high because it gives a nice brown to the pastry straight up, but we can always turn down to, 180 or something after 5 or 10 minutes once it gives that nice browning off color in the beginning. So there we go, our roast chook chicken pot pie ready soon, and I'll show you when it's done. Recipe number 2 with our whole roasted chook. Now, I shredded my chicken as you saw earlier when I was making the pie, so I've reserved a bit of that, and now we're gonna make a really yummy soba noodle salad. So I've got all my bits here. I've got some soba noodles. I've just bought a coleslaw mix from the supermarket. If you want to shred your cabbage and your carrot, go for it. But this is meant to be a quick, easy something you can throw together for lunch or dinner or meal prep, which is why I thought, make my life easy, I'm just gonna buy my slaw. I'll chop up some things to, actually I'll start with this. So we're gonna go with our soba noodles first. Basically, you can use any type of noodle for this. And that's what I love about it. If you like vermicelli noodles, if you like egg noodles, although egg noodles, I don't feel like it's so much of a salad, or you can skip the noodles altogether if you're trying to cut out carbs or whatever. We're going to put in slaw mix. So whatever slaw mix you like. Sometimes I find these a bit too chunky and a bit too, they're not finely shredded. You can now in some, I couldn't for this cook find it in my local IGA, but you can now find finely shredded slaw or cabbage slaw, that kind of thing. So I think that works really well in these types of salads because often you get big pieces like this, which I'm not a huge fan of, but it's meant to be a shortcut recipe. So that's why we're just accepting that. Then I've got some frozen edamame. So you can buy these in selected supermarkets. My local IGA has them, as does Woolworths, but they're in your freezer section. They're called salad edamame, and they're in the, I think I just said they're in the frozen section, but they stay in your freezer and you literally just don't have to cook them or anything. I put them into a bowl and let them defrost over a few hours. Then we're gonna go with our delightful shredded chicken. I probably could have shredded this a little bit more. It's kind of in big chunks, but let's just imagine. But yes, I could probably have shredded a little bit more of that to make it stretch further, but you get the gist, It's all meant to be relaxed. If that's enough for you, you can stop there, but you know me with salad. It's really hard for me to make like a basic salad of like 6 ingredients or less. I know lots of people love them because they make your life easy, but just the cook in me is always like, but that would be so nice if we just added some cucumber. And that would just be so nice if we just added some coriander. And if we're gonna add coriander, we may as well add mint because coriander and mint for Asian salads are a match made in heaven. My point of this ramble is that if you want to stop there and that's enough for you and you think that is a ripper salad for me to enjoy, you stop there. But otherwise, I'm going to continue to add a few more bits and bobs to just take it to that next level. So some spring onion, chop it up however you like. My hand's a bit greasy, sorry. This is why I have to wear an apron. Like, I don't understand those home cooks that just cook away without an apron. My clothes would just get destroyed. So chop, chop, chop. And we're going to throw in all that beautiful spring onion into our salad. Okay, good, good, good. So I've got my herbs here. As I said earlier, coriander and mint. Love them in any kind of Asian-y salad. You also could use Thai basil. You also could use Vietnamese mint. Thai basil and Vietnamese mint are probably my 2 favorite herbs of all time. I know that's a massive call, but they are. The flavor that they bring and the difference in what they can do is like out of this world in my mind, but they're not that easy to get and people aren't that used to using them. So I get that, when you're sticking with herbs, you just want to stick with the things you're familiar with. I totally understand that. So coriander and mint, or just coriander or just mint, work so well in this salad too. But if you want to be a little bit adventurous, then Thai basil and Vietnamese mint are like next level amazing in this salad. We're going to pop that in. I don't mind if I get a coriander piece like that in my salads. I quite like it, but people are very thingy about coriander. So you do you make the call. And then I've just got some mint which I've proudly grown in my garden because I can't grow anything else. I'm just incapable of growing fruits and veggies. And you look, lots of people give me advice. You've got to treat them like your children, you know, love and water and food and nurturing. And I just don't think it's the era of my life to be gardening. I think there's little bit, like a lot's going on, and I just don't have the patience and the time to grow a beautiful garden. But I think in time, you know, as I get older, maybe that will be something that will come. So that might be one of my relaxing things that I do to fill my cup. But at the moment, it just stresses me out. So I'm pretty proud that I can grow my mint by watering, you know, once every 3 or 4 days. That's it. And it's technically a weed, so, you know, it grows on its own, which I like. It's looking pretty bloody great. I've got some cucumber. I'm trying not to take it to that next level of adding 1,000 ingredients. Maybe we'll leave them out. I don't want to stress you guys out. I don't want you to think, oh God, this was meant to be a really easy meal prep salad. Throw in some cucumber if you want. I've also got some peanuts here. So chopped peanuts, roasted, and some fried shallot. You don't have to use both. You don't have to use either. These are all just options. I quite like it with the peanuts, so I'm gonna go with that, but also fried shallots in a salad like this are superb as well. So that's kind of it in terms of the salad. I won't add these yet because if you are doing it for meal prep, so if you're gonna make all this up and then put it into your containers, I would hold off on adding the nuts and the dressing that we're about to make. They just get soggy. So for the purpose of today, and because we will probably eat this today, I will add a bit. Just know that if you are doing it for meal prep, that you should hold off on adding those. Okay, a little dressing that we're gonna put together. Let's give that a toss so we can see how beautiful and pretty it looks. Let's see. Just love a chicken Asian soba noodle salad, like just yum. So yeah, if you were meal prepping, I'd stop like that. It's gonna feel a little bit sticky and like dry because you haven't stirred through obviously a dressing, but that's how you would pop it into your containers because it's gonna last 2 to 3 days if you do it like that. Once you add your dressing, you're just gonna get soggy over, you know, the space of the next 6 to 8 hours. So that is beautiful. Now, dressing time. So I love this brand, Mega Chef. If you ever see it, buy it. It's a little bit more expensive in terms of a fish sauce, but it is so good. The quality is just incredible. About that, I'm not even sure how much I added then, maybe about 1/4 cup or so. Some lime. So this is kind of like a New York mum sort of that I'm making. I sort of change it up between different ingredients, but I usually have my little lime squeezer thing, but that's okay. These are juicy enough. Good squeeze of lime. Smell how fresh and beautiful it is. Now I'll see if I need the next lime. Sometimes limes can be big and juicy and you'd only need one, but I feel like we're gonna need slightly more. People get a bit funny about adding sugar to stuff because they think sugar's the devil. I don't, as long as you're having it in moderation. But brown sugar, you need quite a bit in a dressing like this. So I'm gonna go for about a tablespoon to start. You can always add more. You could use caster sugar. If you were really health conscious, you could use honey. You could also use rice malt syrup if you want that sort of healthier alternative of a sweetener. I just like using caster sugar or brown sugar when it comes to Asian dressings. And then some red chili. I feel like I've given this advice before, but more particularly for jalapenos. But please do check, you know, if a recipe says half a large red chili or a whole red large chili, please do check. Oh yeah, see that's got some kick, that chili. Every chili will be different. Sometimes you'll get a chili like this and you'll taste and you'll be like, it's not got one little bit of heat. And in which case you can throw the whole thing in, maybe grab another. But this one's got quite a kick. So again, chili is always kind of to your preference. A recipe might say a particular amount, but then if you are not, you know, if you don't have a high tolerance for chili, you make the call. Try it first, don't just throw it in, because once you've thrown in chili and it's so overpowering and strong, then you've sort of ruined whatever you've made. You can always add more, which is always my little mantra. It's pretty obvious that you can always add more, but it's amazing how many times we add too much and then we can't go back and we've ruined something that we've spent all this time on. All right, let's have a little taste of this. It's looking good, I reckon. My guess is that it might need more lime. Get that sugar. Remember, sugar sits to the bottom, so give it a really good stir and incorporate all that brown sugar. And then we just have a little taste. Yum. Wow. Enough sugar and enough chili. I think I am gonna go a bit more lime. I could actually stop there, but I love a bit of tangy lime in my, oh, this one's not as juicy. Oh, you know how some just really need my little machine, my little utensil. Just use my fingers. Give that a really good squeeze. All right, stir, stir, stir. Got my little Elias spoon, you know, because I've used 400 of my spoons, so I don't know why I grabbed that out. Okay, and then we have a little taste. Oh, yum. Oh my God, I love that dressing. Okay, so our soba noodle salad is here. I can smell that delicious pie that's almost done. Let's add our beautiful dressing. As I said, remember, give it a little good mix before we add it so that that sugar's all incorporated. Just gonna add about that much and see how we go. Give it a toss. Yum, yum, yum. Getting it everywhere, just getting excited. Oh, okay, now I really am getting it everywhere. And so make sure that salad dressing coats it really well. I am gonna add a little bit more. I think it needs a bit more. Soba noodles soak it up quite well. All right, give that a toss. Beautiful, oh my gosh, what a lovely, vibrant salad. And just because I've made a real mess here, I'm just gonna, be nice and neat when we serve up. This is just a bit of the caterer in me. I used to be a caterer that I might just serve it up into a different bowl because it just, oh my gosh, just all over the shop today, spilling stuff everywhere. I think it is nice when you serve it up like this and you see all the beautiful colors, so vibrant, so pretty, so healthy. Like, who's those people out there that say salads are boring or that salads always taste like rabbit food? I mean, that statement could not be more incorrect if you're going off a salad like this, like full of flavor, full of texture, fills you up, put some nice little bits and bobs on top. Check that out. Now let's get rid of that for the mini. As I said, I've already added some peanuts, so you could stop there, but I'm a sucker for fried shallots too. So just gonna add a little bit of them because they just add such a beautiful texture and crunch and flavor. God, look, just so impressed. Should we try? Yes, Sarah, we should try, absolutely. One of my favorite salads of all time. Like seriously, oh, hold on, that's just gonna be so messy. We've gotta get the chicken because that's what today's all about. Okay, here goes. Sorry for the big mouthful. Oh my God. I mean, I feel like I say this about most dishes I end up cooking, but that could be my favorite. It's one of my fave salads of all time. Just the flavors, the textures. I love Asian salads. It's just delicious. Every time I make this, year after year after year, I've made it for so many years, still blows my mind. So there you go. My chicken, edamame, soba noodle, chili, whatever you want to call it, vibrant, beautiful salad. Okay, so my pie's just come out of the oven. Oh my gosh, it smells so good. I can't really pick it up, but so let's cut into a bit. This is what I mean. You can see how rustic the pastry is. It's not perfect. A little bit of the mix has gone over on one side. That is okay. It's still gonna taste absolutely delicious. And we're not serving it for, the queen, the king, whatever. So let's cut in and have a little taste. Can you hear that? I'm gonna go for my little bit that's not so perfect with the crust and show you that it's gonna be nice. It's okay if your pie's a little liquidy underneath, like really for a weeknight meal. I'm just gonna get this little thing here. This is meant to be like an easy family dinner, so we don't need it to be absolutely perfect. Okay, pop that on your plate. And, oh my God, it smells so yum. Let me get a little fork. Oh my God, my favorite part, testing time. Look at that chicken that we cooked. Oh my gosh, melt in your mouth. Bit of pastry. We've got to watch that I burn the hell out of my mouth. Okay. Bit hot, but so good. I feel like just yum. I'm a real sucker for a chicken pie and a beef pie actually. I just love this style as well, like with the mushrooms and the peas and the carrots. It's kind of like an old school country style pie. It is just so comforting. That chicken is melt in your mouth. I mean, there's probably people out there, but I just love to say who doesn't love a chicken pie and a chicken pot pie because it's so easy to make. So there you go. There is two beautiful, not so tricky recipes that you can make with either buying a store-bought cooked chook or roasting up your own, and they are absolutely delicious.